Every 2 years, Larry rejoices as Star Wars Celebration brings news of new and exciting Star Wars events. Join us for all the galactic excitement on Loop and Larry, Guardians of Geek.
In a world filled with intergalactic space battles, metahuman destruction on a global scale, and psychopathic serial hauntings, there's only one team who can make sense of it all. When your world is overrun with rampant pop culture, call Loop and Larry, Guardians of Geek.
Whoa! This is a really big, meaningful explosion because this is the explosion that only happens once every 2 years.
Oh yeah.
So we're really excited about this explosion.
Hey everybody, I'm Loop.
And I'm Larry.
And welcome to Guardians of Geek. We just did a show like last week. We already have another classic episode out, only because the Star Wars Celebration just happened. Like yes. Literally, like it might even be on. I don't even know when this ends. Like it's around 12 parsecs. So it just finished. Of course, Larry is like I'm a Star Wars fan. Larry's a bigger Star Wars fan than me, but it's we've got info for you, and he's got it all compacted into his little like sheet. He's been taking notes. He's got yarn from pin to pin, just like putting this together, how it all works together. So Larry, let's jump right into this news.
I can't even show you all that stuff because you won't even understand it. It's so complex. It takes the mind of a Jedi master to understand what I've done here.
You're a master of something for sure, but we're not sure what. But anyways, all right, let's jump right into this. Let's do it.
So just off the top, so Star Wars Celebration took place in London, England this year. It was called Europe 2023. Star Wars Celebration only happens every 2 years.
So it's only every two. Okay.
Kind of like the Olympics. So this is why it's so exciting when it does happen. So it just happened. And as of the recording of this podcast, which is the 10th of April, it is technically still on. It finishes today. So I don't think that they're going to release any more information. If they do, we'll update you, but I don't think they will. So let's go over the big stuff. Big stuff. I'm going to start with the first non-Star Wars thing that they announced, because we'll get that out of the way first. And of course, that was the Indiana Jones full trailer for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
I'm so excited about this. I
can't even tell you. Like this is to me, this was just about as exciting as any of the Star Wars news.
Yeah,
to see this trailer, I feel like they're fixing what they did wrong with the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, it looks like more like practical effects, more like realism, like more stunts, like less monkeys.
Yes,
and this one less fridges. Like I don't know, but this one just seems like more like where he maybe would be at this time. His business is just based on the trailer. I don't know, but like maybe based more on where he is at the time, and it just looks cool. Like
what he's actually said is that they're actually using footage that they shot back in the 80s while they were shooting the original movies that they never used. So
which is so cool.
It's so cool. And apparently it's all about Nazis again. So it's going to feel very much like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like they're really going back to like the original feel of Indiana Jones. So it's going to have younger Indiana Jones, younger Harrison Ford in there. It's going to feel so good. But the other thing that they announced is that they've officially confirmed that this is the last Indiana Jones. Like they're not going to continue. This is it. So that I don't know what to make of that. I feel like I might want to bring a box of Kleenex in here.
No.
If this is the last Indiana Jones,
God, I don't know. Be dead. I'm dying inside already. I don't even know what's going to happen in it.
I know.
Do you think they'll ever like reboot this series with a new actor?
I don't think they can. I would be quite upset if they decided, hey, let's put Chris Pratt in there and he's Indiana Jones now. He's so iconic. It'd be like trying to reboot Back to the Future with new characters instead of Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. You couldn't do it. It would look so bad. I mean, and you can look at Ghostbusters, the Ghostbusters they did with I can't even remember their names. The all-female team with Ghostbusters.
Oh, like Kate McKinnon and
yeah, and how well that
Leslie
went.
Jones.
Like there are just some characters that are too iconic to do.
Yeah. Again, that one would have worked had they just kept it in the same universe and had the other Ghostbusters show up and kind of endorse it. That would have totally worked. But they did a total weird thing with it, and it didn't because of that. Had it done, it would have worked, and they still would have been doing them, I bet.
I feel like you're probably right. So I don't know. They'd have to be careful. I could see them doing a prequel. Like I could see them going back and doing like young Indiana Jones. They had the TV show, but they've never done it on film. I could see that happening so that they could recast. I mean, like they technically they recast Harrison Ford when they did the Solo movie and made a young Harrison Ford. I can't remember the guy's name. I can never really pronounce it, even if I did know it. But the actor who they put in there sort of resembled him a little bit, so they could potentially make a young Indiana Jones series, and that might be okay.
Like one where he's like already a professor, but he's younger than he is in Raiders, let's say.
So they could recast him totally. I don't know, but
maybe it's like his first, like starts with his first sort of like thing that he went and got, like you know what I mean, like under the school, like
that would be okay. I'd be okay with that. But this new trailer made
it looks phenomenal. It looks so good.
Yeah, I've already bought like 6 tickets to it, even though they're not on sale yet. All right, so that was an interesting. That was the only non-Star Wars related thing that they did at Star Wars Celebration, I guess, because it's Lucasfilm and that. But that was pretty exciting. Okay, so let's move on to the actual Star Wars news. So we're going to start right at the top because this is probably the one that the people are talking about most. The first trailer for Ahsoka.
So cool.
The new Disney Plus show that features Ahsoka Tano that comes out this year. So we don't have that long to wait for it. It comes out in August of this year. So the trailer starts with, you hear the voiceover of Ahsoka saying, "Something's coming, something dark." Whoa, that's exciting.
It was, I gotta say, because we had watched Clone Wars, because we had watched Rebels. Like I know some people aren't into the animated Star Wars, but those are must watches now. Like you have to have seen those in order to understand like some of these new characters and have the backstory of Ahsoka like from the beginning. And it's Rebels was so good, and a lot of those characters are showing up in like a few of them are anyways in this so far. Like
exactly. So this new series they've already shown, we're getting Ezra Bridger. So from Star Wars Rebels, we've got Ezra Bridger, Harris and Dula with Chopper. So Chopper,
which is awesome.
Chopper actually did make a live action appearance in Rogue One.
That's right.
He was in a scene when they were in like a hangar, and he kind of walked by. But so he's actually in it, and Sabine Wren. So you've got 3, and then we already saw Zeb in Mandalorian like last week or a couple of weeks ago. So the whole Rebels crew is now in live action, so that's really cool. So bringing that into the live action, which is awesome. The trailer also showed that Mon Mothma is returning.
It's so cool. Like it's just like
so that's pretty awesome. So I mean, I don't know if there will be any link from Andor, because she was in Andor and she's now in this. I don't know if there'll be a link there, but that's pretty awesome. And the big baddie in this one, they've revealed, is actually going to be Thrawn, who's going to be played by Lars Mikkelsen.
That's going to be so cool.
Which is awesome, because now the Mikkelsen brothers are like iconic Star Wars villains. Because Mads Mikkelsen was Krennic. I think that is pretty awesome that we're actually finally going to get an Admiral Thrawn live action.
I kind of marked out when they said when she says he's the heir to the Empire, because if you've read those original novels, he was in them and it was called that, and so that was kind of a nice like kind of like touch just to make reference to those which aren't canon. But I went back, I've like just read them just last year, and even though they're not canon, they're still fun to read. And it's like, there's probably some like bits and pieces, but that's where he started in those. And it was like, he's just such a great character. They continued him on, obviously, into Rebels and things like that. But
absolutely. And I think it's so cool that they are doing that they're bringing this non-canon extended universe material back into the canon universe, which is so cool. But Lars, so they chose Lars Mikkelsen because he actually voiced the animated character of Grand Admiral Thrawn in Rebels. So when Dave Filoni created Rebels, that's who he cast. So, which is cool because then he'll have the same voice. So if you watch him in Rebels, where we saw a fair bit of him, he'll have the same voice. So it'll be essentially the same.
For Zeb, right? I just have to remember in Mandalorian. Apparently, that was the same guy that voiced him as well. Yes. I met him actually at because my son Nelson's a huge fan of him because he does voice work for other animation that he's really into. So I met him there like at the last Comic-Con we went to, or one of the last ones we went to. So it was kind of cool.
Oh, that's really cool. Well, now he's a Star Wars guy.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty cool that they are bringing the original voices into this thing. So that is pretty awesome. Apparently, speaking of the books, Dave Filoni actually consulted Timothy Zahn about how to portray Han, because Timothy Zahn is the one who wrote Heir to the Empire, isn't it?
Yeah, he wrote that whole series, that trilogy.
So it was
Plus, I think there's new books now that are canon that he's written as well. Yes. That are or at least part of, at least. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So and Timothy Zahn is the one who created Thrawn. So it's very cool that Filoni is actually talking to Timothy Zahn and saying, okay, how do we get this character to be exactly how you want him to be? So that I feel really good about this, about this series. So that's coming really soon. So that's pretty excited. So that was announcement 1. So then, of course, we moved on to the announcements of 3 new movies,
which is so cool as well. And they're not a trilogy.
No, they're not. They're all standalone movies, which is pretty awesome. But I mean, we haven't had a Star Wars movie in years, and we weren't sure after Solo if we were going to get any more, or if they're just going to. So the fact that they've actually committed to 3 new ones is really cool. So the first one is a Dave Filoni, but they haven't announced the titles of anything. But the first one is going to be directed by Dave Filoni, and quite honestly, I mean, based on what he's done so far with Star Wars, it's just a given that he'd direct one of the movies, and that's pretty.
He just understands Star Wars better than pretty much anybody. Like
yes. Him and Jon Favreau.
Like they understand what needs to be done.
Yes. So his film is going to focus on the New Republic, but it's also going to close out the interconnected stories told in The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and other Disney Plus series. So I don't know, Bad Batch, I'm not sure what other series.
So it's gonna be like the end game of all these series. All right.
So what's cool is what they're saying is when we get a release date for Filoni's film, we'll know how many more seasons of The Mandalorian there might be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it could go on forever, but if this is going to be the culminating movie, like linking all of this together, potentially that will mean that Mandalorian will end when this movie comes out. Not necessarily. I mean, I guess it could go on afterwards, but it will change after this movie because this movie is going to wrap. But what I think is really exciting about this is that it proves that all of these series are linked, like that they will all come to one point and the Avengers will come in and fix everything.
Yeah, of course. Thanos will show up and it'll be done.
Exactly. So that's really cool.
We'll bring together the multiverse of Star Wars.
Yes. So from the press release that they put out, it said Dave Filoni will orchestrate the escalating war between the Imperial Remnant and the fledgling New Republic. So it sounds like it's going to be like a war movie, essentially, like a final battle. Like it's just like the big final battle.
Well, somewhere in there, like the First Order has to come to power, right?
I would think so.
Within that time zone. Because it leads into what was the first one again? I can't remember with Daisy Ridley.
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens. So somewhere in between those two, like that has to become a thing again.
Well, I don't know. Like we are still like a number of years before those movies happened, so I'm not sure if these ones end before Force Awakens. Like I'm not 100, and that's the thing, like we're not sure how many more seasons of these things there are going to be, but I feel like they'll end before, like we won't see any New Order stuff. It'll
or to hint at it, or
there'll be hints of it, but I don't know that we'll see Kylo Ren or anything like that. because I don't think Luke Skywalker will be old enough yet. And Luke and
yeah, he's still pretty young in these ones.
yeah, so I don't know that, but it'll be close. But it's just cool that there's a wrap up like that,
Yeah.
and Filoni is doing it. So that's the first one. The next movie they announced was a movie directed by James Mangold, who is coincidentally also the person directing the Indiana Jones movie that we're so excited about. So that's pretty awesome. So Lucasfilm has him under their umbrella, I guess.
Yeah.
So he's going to be directing a movie, and this one, for me, I know a lot of people don't like going backwards in the Star Wars universe, but I kind of like seeing the origins of things. This is the like ultimate origin movie, because this movie is literally about the very first Jedi.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's described as a biblical epic. It'll go back to the dawn. I'm reading my notes, by the way.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's. I mean, I don't think you can memorize this. Go ahead.
Exactly. No. It'll go back to the dawn of the Jedi, a time set tens of thousands of years earlier than anything we've seen before, and that we're probably going to meet a figure known as the Prime Jedi. So the very first person. That's the person who founded the Order on Acto, which is where Luke was in The Last Jedi, that island in the middle, that's called Acto. So it's going to take a lot of it'll take place there, I guess. Sometime around 25,000 years before the events of the New Hope. 25,000 years.
Wow.
We dinosaurs. And
so is Han Solo in this? Like,
I think he might make an appearance. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure.
But
will anybody be milking anything on this island?
I don't know. There'll definitely be porgs. That's all I can tell.
Porgs will be there. The first porg will be there.
So it says James Mangold will be taking audiences deep into the past, telling the tale of the first Jedi to wield the Force and harness its liberating power in an era of chaos and oppression. It'll answer the questions: where did the Force come from? When did we discover it? And when did we know how to use it? So this is pretty cool.
I think this one's called Midichlorian. So that's the name of it. Yeah, it is. And Randall Mantooth will be directing.
Yeah,
it.
no,
that's what you said, right? Randall Mantooth. Okay,
definitely not involved in this. No.
Okay, no, he's not in this project. Okay,
no,
I thought it was. Okay.
He's not involved in anything.
I might be mishearing some of the information that you're giving me. So.
Mantooth, Mangold. I guess I could
pretty
see
close. Close enough.
Anyway, it's gonna be unlike anything we've ever seen, because there won't be anybody in it who we know. But it's 25,000 years before.
That's crazy.
Like, will there be technology? Like, will there be like spaceships, or are people will the wheel have been invented? I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know where it sits at that point. That's fun. That's good. That should be fun.
That one's pretty exciting. And then finally, the third one that they announced is going to be directed by Sharmeen Obaid Chinoy. She actually directed 3 episodes of Miss Marvel, so she's part of the whole Lucasfilm and Disney universe as well. And this one is going to be pushing the story forward. So this one takes place 15 years after The Last Jedi, and this one features Daisy Ridley as
that's so cool.
Rey Skywalker. I guess that's what they're going to call her. But it's 15 years after The Last Jedi. So apparently this one is going to be about her rebuilding the Jedi Order, because now Luke is dead.
See, I love that. I love that it's after like it's continuing everything. You know, Chewbacca's going to be in it because she was with them when they left. So
100%. Yes.
They're probably just hanging, you know. R2D2 C3PO could be in this.
A
lot of people could actually.
Yeah, technically. I mean,
there's a lot of those characters could be showing up.
Yeah. I think we'll see some returning characters, but but the question is that people are asking is, like, what about Poe? Like, because Poe is still alive in the last one, so he could potentially still be in it. Poe Dameron and oh my gosh, who the other main character?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've watched them now.
Yes. Oh, now I can't remember his name. But anyway, the main characters. Yeah. So they haven't announced anybody else. All they've announced is Rey. But as far as we know, she's literally the last Jedi kind of thing. So it'll be about rebuilding the Jedi Order. So it'll be kind of cool to see like a movie about the very first Jedi and about the movie about like the only existing Jedi coming out at some point.
I wonder if that kid with the broom in The Last Jedi, if he's going to be
Boy?
Broom Boy.
Yes. Whose name is Tem Blay.
Is it? Okay.
I don't know why I know that. It's because
I don't know why either. That's
well, it's because I started following him on Instagram.
okay. That's a little weird.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, template. Yes, well, you might. You never know.
Lawrence is cut off from all Star Wars. People, please do not accept friendship.
He's a Star Wars guy. I'm allowed. Come on.
He's like 12.
No, he's not anymore. He's maybe 15.
Okay, stop it.
Okay.
Let's move on to the next thing that you
moving
got.
on. So yeah, so those are the 3 big movie announcements that they put out there. So that was pretty cool. Then going back to TV. So the TV's not done yet. They've got lots more coming up in TV. So the next thing that they talked about was the Acolyte, which we've talked about before. We mentioned that it's coming. They now have a date for it, so it'll be the summer of next year, summer of 2024. That's the show that's going to be coming. It's set 100 years before A New Hope, so it's going back in time as well. And they're now referring to it as Frozen meets Kill Bill. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that works, but that's what they're saying. Lots of martial arts. There's going to be a Wookiee Jedi Master. Who's going to be played by Juna, and I can't remember his last name, but he's the person who took over for Peter Mayhew in the Chewbacca roles. Yep. So he's going to be playing a Wookiee Jedi Master, and the star of the Squid Games is also going to be starring as a Jedi Master. So there's going to be a lot. Is
this part of the High Republic, or is this?
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know there's a Wookiee Jedi Master in that. Like in the book, there was. I didn't read past the first book, but if you look back at our review of the worst of 3 years ago, you might have remember me talking about the High Republic. But
and just as an update, I still only have read half of the book.
Okay, perfect, excellent, good.
Yes,
I own the next one. I haven't even touched it. But maybe I'll get to it.
Maybe I doubt it. When I finish the first one, maybe then you'll start the second one. Which is never. Anyway, so that's what they've said. So that one is next year's big Star Wars show, and it looked pretty awesome too. The trailer for that one looked pretty cool. So I don't have a lot left. This is not going to be a long episode. This is just highlights.
That's right. This is just some info.
This is just info that everybody needs.
A sprinkling of info for you.
Exactly. Yeah, that's all right. This is what we got. So next show that they talked about is called Skeleton Crew. And
which kind of looks cool too. Okay.
Yes, we did. I see. Now I wasn't sure how you were going to take this one, Luke, because
I know it's got kids in it.
It's got kids in it.
Yeah. I'll give it a chance.
So, but this is what might get you. So, okay. So this is a show. It stars Jude Law. So Jude Law is
and I like Jude Law. So that sucked me in a bit.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's about kids going on an adventure in space, essentially. And that's the part that might lose you. But, here's what might bring you back. So this is another one of those series that is like multiple episodes, and each episode is directed by different people, different person. So they revealed during Lucasfilm's studio showcase during Celebration, they revealed the full list of the directors. So I have a partial list here. I don't have all of them, but they include the Daniels, who just directed Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yep.
So they're going to be directing an episode. Dallas Bryce Howard is back to direct an episode.
Nice.
John Watts. So it's a pretty like it's A-list level. But the fact that they got the Daniels in there, I think bodes pretty well.
They're hot right now.
They are hot. They're hot. You add them to the Star Wars universe, and I don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
But so Kathleen Kennedy said that the approach to this series is going to be similar in tone to that of 80s Amblin movies. So the Steven Spielberg movies that he released in the 80s, E.T. and that sort of thing, that's the tone. That's going to be the tone of this. So even though, that's cool. I feel like, so I actually feel like
it's like Stranger Things in space
kind of thing. That's sort of what I'm envisioning here, is that it might be kids, but it's going to feel more grounded, like not goofy kids. It'll feel more like real kids interacting and talking. But if that's the tone that it's got, I mean, that's pretty cool. I love the 80s Amblin movies. Who doesn't?
It's going to be good.
So that was that one. They did mention Andor. They didn't really talk too much about it, other than season 2 comes out also in summer of next year, so August of 2024. So that means we're going to get the Acolyte and Andor potentially overlapping. Not that they have anything to do with each other, because they're at least 100 years apart, or more than 100 years apart. But at least we're getting 2 solid Star Wars shows happening at the same time next summer.
Cool.
And they have officially announced that Andor season 2 is the last season. So it was like part 1 was this year, part 2 is next year, and that's it. I had assumed, since there's 5 years between A New Hope and between this Andor season 1 started 5 years before A New Hope. I figured they would be 5 seasons, one for each year leading up to Rogue One, but that's not the case. But they did say that season 2 will end with Rogue One, where Rogue One starts.
So he's still got to get that. He's still got to get, was it KS1 or KOS1?
KS. Holy cow! No, KS. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. There's so many droids, so little time, it's like
no, I can't remember. But Jyn Erso, Galen Erso, like I assume Galen Erso is going to make an appearance here, because he was key to what happened in Rogue One, so he'll have to make an appearance, I assume. Well, his daughter was pretty little at the time, so I don't know if the kid will appear again. K2SO, thank you.
There you go.
Yeah. So
we're not finishing this podcast till I remember the name of that droid.
K2SO. Yeah. So anyway, so that is coming, and that will be the final season for that, which I'm okay with. Like I like.
Yeah, I think that's ending. That first season was so like way beyond what I expected it to be. So
totally. Yeah. So I was really good about. I'm good to know that they've got an ending for it. So that's really good. The only other TV show that they announced, and they just announced this one yesterday, Star Wars Visions season 2 is coming this year. It's a May the 4th drop, so that will happen on this year, in just a few weeks, really. So it's going to be another 9 new shorts. If you haven't watched it before, this is the one that was 9 short episodes that were all created by different animation studios around the world. So each one is a different animation style. Some are anime, some are just like, it's all different animation styles. Really cool, like really, really good animation. I was really into it. And it's cool because a lot of them take place as if they're like shogun warriors, like samurai, which is the actual origin of Star Wars. That's where Lucasfilm got it from, was the 7 Samurai and Kurosawa films. So I like anything that brings in the samurai side of it. So anyway, so this has gotten 9 new shorts with 9 completely different animation studios, and including one looks like it's Aardman Studios, which is the studio behind Wallace and Gromit. So it's so it's like clay animation, like claymation. So one of them looks like it'll be funny. And that in the trailer for that one, they have a Wookiee character who has a little doll, and they cut to him really quick, and the little Wookiee guy pulls the arms off the doll, because Wookiees pull the arms off of you if they lose. So that one looks like it might be kind of a funny thing. So I think
I'll be busy when those are on.
Oh, well, for anybody other than Loop,
no, I'll maybe check it out. We'll see.
Yeah, and they're pretty cool. So finally, the only other thing I've got is during an interview on the Star Wars Celebration live stage, Kathleen Kennedy spoke about what it meant to experiment with storytelling on Disney Plus, and that it gave a test bed for expanding the universe before thoughtfully bringing the franchise back to cinemas. So they're using the TV shows that they created on Disney Plus to figure out how to tell the stories and how to link the stories. And that's why we haven't seen any movies in theaters yet, because they are using this, which I think is a great idea. Like this was so smart to create long form storytelling, figure out how it's done, and link them all together, and then bring them back to theaters. And because they haven't announced any actual dates, for these movies. It could be years before we actually see them. But it's just cool to know that that's their plan, that they actually have a plan. Because
Yeah.
people were a little worried after the sequel trilogy that they were kind of off the rails and didn't really know where they were going. So at least they've got a plan now. So that's pretty cool. So
that is good, actually. It's I think I don't know, the Star Wars TV side is just really well done, and it's like it's almost like you don't even need the movies, really. Like, it's like, I mean, the movies are a nice touch, obviously, but
it's true. And I actually thought that at the time, like as we were watching this, I thought, you know what, if they keep this quality of TV going forever, I'm okay with not sitting in a movie theater to watch it. I like being in a movie theater in the biggest screen with crowds and all that stuff, and racing to get tickets before it sells out. I do like that stuff, but I like what they're doing with it. Like, I like that there's actually going to be a movie to wrap up the TV shows. Like, I think
that's cool. That's very cool.
That's really cool. And then a movie that moves it forward, and then a movie that shows you the origins. Like, it seems to me that they've got a really good balance of the cinema side, to go with what they're doing on TV. So this to me, this was a huge weekend for Star Wars, and to see what's coming up, and I'm pretty excited.
I've got a couple quick pieces of news.
Oh god.
This is actual news.
Okay.
Bad Batch season 3 returning 2024.
Oh, really?
That was announced at it. Yep. So they confirmed today, which I guess would have been today. Yeah, it was today's the 10th, right?
Yes, I think today's
okay. So it was confirmed today that it's returning 2024. It will be its last season 3.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
so it'll be see that this is a hot off the presses.
We're like right on top of things here.
It didn't make up anything about Yaddle. It wasn't like a Yaddle series, or
As much as I know you're dying for a Yaddle series, because you talk constantly about it, but
I got one episode last year with Yaddle, and that was actually pretty good. It was way better than I thought it was going to be. So
which they are. I didn't mention it, but I did hear something about they are bringing Tales of the Jedi back for season 2. So you might get more Yaddle. Just saying.
I'll take more Yaddle. Yaddle's just Yaddle's unexplored as a character.
It's true.
Also the last thing I want to mention, but you'll know more about this than I will. They're bringing back Return of the Jedi to the theaters.
Yes, so they have announced that for the 40th, because this is the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. So 3 years ago they did the same thing for Empire Strikes Back. They created this beautiful poster and they brought it back to theaters for a week or whatever it was. I managed to go and see it. It was amazing to see it on the big screen again. So that was pretty cool. So, but we broadcast from Canada. We're doing this thing from Canada right now. They haven't confirmed whether it's coming here. I've been looking online to see if there's scheduling, because it's coming excuse me, it's coming back on April 28th is when the week of April 28th.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Oh boy. I'm talking so
What's
much
happening over there?
All right, we're good.
What's going on?
I gotta calm down.
I know, you gotta bring yourself down a few notches.
Too much Star Wars.
Did you swallow a porg? What happened over there?
I feel like it did. All right. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah. So it's coming back. Return of the Jedi is coming back into theaters on April 28th in the States right now, but I don't know for sure when it's happening in Canada. I know last time Imagine Cinemas in Canada seemed to be the only theater that really got it for Empire Strikes Back. So I'm watching their feeds, and hopefully they post something about running it, because I'd love to see that one on the big screen again. Isn't that your favorite of the original trilogy?
Yeah, it's my favorite of all of them.
Yeah,
like it always has been. It's more than Empire. Like, I think it's like the strongest. It's the most Star Warsy movie of the Star Wars movies to me. It's because the way it's like broken down, and you got Jabba the Hutt. You can't go wrong.
Yes. You do. You got the Ewoks. You love Ewoks.
I do love a good Ewok. Like,
who doesn't love a good Ewok? So you know that if it shows up in Canada, if it's happening, in the Loop and I will be there. And
I got to go to this thing. Like, I've got to. I saw. Remember when they redid, like, they did those like extra, like the newer versions, like,
yes,
and we went and saw them like 3 times.
Yes. Yeah, we were a bit crazy with our cinematic. I don't know if we've ever talked about this on the show, but when the prequel trilogy came out in 1999, Loop and I decided that we were so excited about this whole thing that we would see the episode when it came out, like on the day it was released here in Canada, in London, Ontario, where we are, and then we would get tickets and we would jump in the car and the same day drive across the border
I don't know when this started. It's such a weird thing.
I think it was then. I think it was the prequels. Drive across the border and find a theater in the States so that we could watch it in 2 countries on the same day, same opening day. We did that for the Phantom Menace and Clone Wars and the other one, Attack of the Clones, and the other one that nobody can remember. But we did that. So that was our when we were younger and had like time.
And we didn't need as much sleep because we do the midnight showing.
Yes.
And then because when they used to do midnight showings, and then we drive the next day to the States and go see it.
So it would be the same calendar day, and we will see it twice in 2 different countries.
I feel like one of them we saw 3 times in the same day, but I can't remember. Like I feel like we saw it in the States and saw it again, like I did back to backs or something. Like I remember it was really dumb.
I feel like we saw it here, then we went to the States and watched it, and then came back to Canada and watched it again that night or something like that.
We were insane. Like that was insanity, but it was awesome at the same time.
It was like, so we I'm pretty sure that we hold the record for having seen a movie in 2 different countries on the same day 3 times for 3 different movies.
So before we wrap up here, when's the next celebration? It's another 2 years. Do you know any information?
Yes, they just announced that today too. So the next celebration is in 2025 in Japan, which
that's pretty cool.
I don't know if they've ever had it in Japan before. Usually it's in Anaheim, California, or Chicago, or London, England. They've had it. I don't recall them having it in Japan before. So this might be a first. I could be wrong about that, but I don't recall hearing Japan. So 2025 in Japan. We will all see you there because we're all going.
That's awesome. That's gonna be so cool. I think that wraps it up for our Star Wars.
This was
special.
Just a quick in and out. I just got it. I had to get it off my chest. I couldn't hold it in any longer.
You couldn't hold it in any longer. So I guess we'll warp drive out of here, whatever we do, and then we'll. Thank you for watching once again. Check out our socials, and we had a new episode just last week that you still want to check out with Hank. We went through his whole 7,000 video collection. It was insane, and he had a big Star Wars collection as well, which was really cool. So check that out if you haven't watched that yet. Watch, and thank you for watching this episode. We'll see you next time on Loop and Larry, Guardians of Geek.
Bye-bye.
Produced by Matthew C. Loop and Lawrence Simner. A Loop and Larry production.
Bueller.
He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
Bueller.
Bad news. Fog is getting thicker.
And Leon's getting larger.
Inconceivable.
Brian's right. It's an elf.
Wax on.
Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Wax off.